everyone? It's Chris, and welcome back to the Survivor Podcast with my good friend, Gocubs 711.
7-Eleven was a part-time job.
It's a part-time job. And, wait a minute. There's so many questions I have. We like part-time job as in like you only worked like a certain amount of hours per week, or that it was a part-time job in the sense that you quickly realized what you got yourself into and left.
The joke is that it sounds like 9/11 was an inside job.
Oh god, that completely went over my head. That's great. There you go. 7-Eleven was a part-time job. Alright, I got it. Alright, anyways, welcome to the Survivor Cow Wrong podcast. So, we're gonna recap, this last episode that we had, the arrival of Julia at the, Yellow Tribe, and the continuous aftermath of all the chaos of last week. So, the fun time kicks off at the Gondol tribe. After Tribal, the Brains make sure to tell Ty that they saved him because he's useful around camp and that he can kill the chicken. And so I find it so weird that they said that. I was just like, isn't that like his least favorite thing? Isn't that like the thing he does not want to do that much? I don't know. But anyways, Peter makes a move to form an alliance with Ty because he's looking to finally make a big move and go after Joe. And so they kind of talk about that, and then we move on to the next morning at Shanlo. Nick is trying to buddy up with everyone. Debbie, in particular, seems like she's into forming the alliance, sort of,
with this Adonis creature,
right? Yeah, she's like talking up and down as like this sort of like god, like this heroic creature that he's gonna be the muscle man that saves us all. And it's like, okay, Debbie, calm down. Debbie tells us how handsome Nick is, and she should know because of all the modeling she's done, and then on the screen, her new occupation is part-time model. So, yep. This is fantastic. Debbie has really done it all. So, I just love the fact that like her the image that I actually used for the podcast of her is the one with the tiger bathing suit. Just like, oh god, that's a model. That's her being a model. All right. So then Tree Mail arrives, and apparently the next challenge involves basketball, and then immediately Shanlo's like, what the hell, guys? Because Scott now,
there's a basketball player on the other team,
right? Scott, the NBA champion. So then we move on to the reward challenge. So yeah, one member from each tribe will dive down and release some buoys. Then 3 other tribe members will bring the buoys to shore. From there, 2 tribe members will have to shoot baskets with them. First team to hit all 10 of their shots wins a picnic. So, before we begin, Julia does show up and takes Anna's spot on Gondol. And we start off, and basically they go through the challenge, and it becomes really close near the end because it's Scott versus Nick trying to see who could get the most baskets, and Nick took. And
Nick is actually leading for a lot of the challenge.
Right, exactly. But Scott finally finding his inner NBA player, and quite honestly, earning my respect back for from the stuff that that I lost a little bit, but like a while ago. He finally earned my respect back with a very special line that he said. Go Cubs if you want to read it.
So Sydney went to try to distract him. Hey Scott, what you doing? And Scott just goes winning and nails the last basket. It was incredible. It
was an epic moment, and I was like, all right, Scott, you get a round of applause for me. That was awesome.
Can you imagine he missed, though?
That would have been really depressing. But you know what?
He knew, though.
He knew. His instincts knew. So, yeah, there you go. The yellow team actually wins the tribal or the reward challenge, and they get a nice picnic to celebrate Julia's arrival and, of course, the fact that they win a challenge. So,
Yep.
back at Gondol, Julia's trying to learn the ways of her new tribe. Immediately, Peter tries to bring her on board and throw Joe and Aubrey under the bus. They drag, he drags her into like the ocean and basically shoves information in her face and everything like that, and everyone's just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Joe and Aubrey sees this discussion and comes to the conclusion that it might be the doctor's time to leave. And over at Shenlong, Nick is annoyed that he didn't defeat an NBA champion in a free throw challenge. The ladies at the bar, wait, what? Never mind. However,
What was that?
no, okay. It's because Gordon always has to put in his own quips in this.
Yeah.
So it's like the ladies at the bar would have been all over that story. And he says however, he's cool with it because Michelle screwed up the buoy release, which is very true. But Michelle isn't ready to go down without a fight. She asks Debbie who they should target. Debbie tells her that she wants a woman to win, and she wants to target Jason. Now, Nick doesn't buy it, though. He assures Michelle that she's the target in the most condescending way possible. And it was like, he was literally like, just let me do the talking, just whatever. You gotta not listen to them, alright? Just, you gotta know that you're the target. You could fucking... And, like, he was just being, like, a really, like, pretentious asshole. To say the least. And she was just like, all right, I'm going to play dumb, and I'm going to let him just do whatever he wants me. I'm going to do whatever he wants me to do, but no one's going to tell me what to do otherwise. So whatever that relationship, how that goes, we'll see what happens. So anyways, the next day at Gondol, Peter pitches getting rid of Joe and Aubrey to Scott. He refers to himself as basically a free agent now. So now Joe aggressively confronts Peter and asks him if he's targeting him, and that was one of the more insane parts of the episode, because it was really like Joe was like interrogating him, but Peter was dancing around it crazy. Peter finally said, "Oh yeah, no," and then Joe kind of like walked away. We're like, all right, well, you clearly, I feel like you're lying to me, so whatever.
Yeah. I feel like Peter could have handled that a little bit better. I think he was definitely caught off guard by it. There's no question about that.
Right.
But
yeah. The number one thing you have to remember in those kind of situations, when someone tries to confront you, the number one, I know, like, the immediate reaction is to kind of get, like, tense and think, oh god, they're coming after me, what am I doing wrong? You have to try to relax. You have to be like, I'm like, oh no, I would never do that. Are you kidding? Like, just relax and just let the answers come to you, whether it be the truth or if you're lying your butt off. Just relax. It's all good. That's my advice, at least. So then we get to the immediate.
So if I come at you with a knife, play it off nice and relaxed, right?
Well, you know what? Honestly, I would actually say so, because
I'm gonna come at you with a knife now, and I'll see if any of what you say is true.
Oh well, I try to practice what I preach, but sometimes it does not work. I will probably piss my pants, but regardless of that, if you remain calm, maybe you'll be able to think clearer and figure out your strategy. That's the way.
I'm not actually threatening him. Don't worry.
We're gonna get phone calls now in the Survivor podcast hotline. Immediately challenge time. The teams will race through an obstacle course, and they'll use poles to knock puzzle pieces out of a net. The first tribe to complete their giant stacking puzzle wins immunity. And this was a back and forth battle for the most part. It seemed like blue was in the lead for a little while, and then yellow caught up because they were able to use their poles to get the puzzle pieces off the net a lot quicker. So then they were the first ones to get to the puzzle, followed by the blue team, and then they started stacking the towers, and I believe it was blue that lost pieces first, and then yellow lost pieces, and then finally the blue tribe won once again for the second week in a row, leaving yellow to have to go back to tribal council yet again, which means
neither of us got points because we both predicted Gondol would win, and therefore both of our elimination predictions went out the window.
Essentially.
Still tied at 6.
Still tied at 6. All right. So that was great. That was a really fun challenge and everything. But it was at this point that I was like, who really is gonna go home? Because it feels like it could really be a lot of people on that tribe. Yep. So now back at camp, Aubrey wants to get rid of Peter. She's really trying to preach it to Joe, but at the same time doesn't want to hand Scott, Ty, and Julia the numbers. So Joe listens to her pitch and decides to make peace with Peter, and they agree to target Julia. For whatever reason, they want to do that. I don't know, even though Peter has clearly been scheming, but whatever. It's their choice. So later, Scott asks Peter if he wants to target Joe, and Peter admits that he's changed his mind and wants to stick with the brains. And then Julia and Ty approach Aubrey and tells her that Peter was targeting her, and that can't be a surprise. Either way, Aubrey doesn't commit to anything. She tells Joe about the new info, and he is very annoyed that she's considering making any sort of move. They're committed to keeping Peter around, and they really they want to make sure that the brains have the numbers going forward.
Yep.
So, that night at Tribal, Peter owns up to his failed block stacking strategy. Julia thinks that that's a reason to vote him out, and Julia admits that Peter was the first person to talk game to her. Peter doesn't own up to it, but says the game is complex. So Scott is frustrated because there are members of the tribe who doesn't stick to their decisions. And then meanwhile, Ty and Scott begin to talk to each other during Tribal, which I feel like we've seen probably the most of in the past few seasons that we've seen. I feel like we've seen people talk quietly to each other during Tribal a lot, but not this season. I feel like almost every Tribal people are like, wait a minute, should we keep with the plan? Should we stick to the plan? Everyone's freaking out, making a decision last minute.
It's weird not having veterans in the game.
Right.
Maybe I'm just so used to last season, and last season everyone already knows what the fuck is happening.
Yeah, exactly. And this season's oh
this
god,
season they're all new.
What do we do? So, I thought, and they basically, it seems that they're debating between Peter or between voting out Julia, because they were considering it just to stick with the majority, or to stick to the original plan, which was to try to get out Peter. Joe picks up on this and says he isn't sure which way the game is going, and then Scott tells Julia to go with the original plan out loud. Yep. He says,
"Hey Julia, original plan."
and Jeff's like, wait, Scott, what's original plan? And Scott's like, original plan. And I was just like, all right, so there you go. Scott's just gonna say it and make everyone shit their pants. So anyways, voting time comes around, and we do see Julia vote for Peter. Peter votes for Julia, and then we also see Aubrey voting for Julia, but
they don't show her put it in the urn.
Right. That's a very important part. She doesn't hold it up. She's staring at it. And it was a really intense scene because you kind of had the feeling, wait a minute, is she really questioning this right now? So, probes, tallies, and returns. We've got 1 vote for Peter, 1 vote for Julia, 1 vote for Peter, 1 vote for Julia, 1 vote for Peter, And the last vote had Julia's name crossed out. Aubrey changed her mind in the voting booth. The seventh person voted out of Survivor Karong is Peter.
Still on to my Soul Survivor, but I wasn't really that impressed by him.
Yeah.
So
It was a good run though. He was definitely involved.
He was a player. He'd been playing.
He was playing for sure. But Peter is gone. That was one of the coolest tribal councils to me that I've seen. Even though I wouldn't say it was my favorite thus far this season. It
was really good editing on their part.
Right. I'm glad that they showed her thinking about it for a second and then crossing it out. I thought that was funny. So yeah, there you go. Peter is gone, which means Gocubs.
I need to elect a new Soul Survivor.
Yeah, and I will just really quickly here put Ty back up on the screen, who is my Soul Survivor right now.
So the two that I've been mulling over two, and I'm not really that much of a fan of the rest of the cast. I really liked Caleb. I liked Peter at first. I liked Ty, but you have Ty.
Right.
There really just aren't that many people that I'm super interested in. But there are a couple. And I've been kind of switching back and forth between these two. And I would say Scott in this moment. But I think Scott's going to be seen as too much of a physical threat to be like, oh no, you got to get him out. Otherwise, he's going to win all the immunities.
Right. Yeah. That's true.
So instead, I'm going to say Julia.
You got to stick with Julia.
And if by whatever reason, when Julia gets eliminated, if she does, and Scott is still around, I'm going to go with Scott.
Yeah.
Unless you pick him up first. But
that's true. But
we'll see what happens. But I'm going to go with Julia.
Yeah, I like the pick because I think that she's kind of like under the radar right now. She hasn't been very, very involved in the scheming yet, but she could very much start soon. Could be one of those players that's like just trying to lay low for now, and then maybe at the merge something happens and she gets involved. But
I think she'll reconnect with some alliances in the merge too. So
yeah,
she's got Michelle from Chandlo.
Right, exactly. So she already has.
Nick, I don't know.
Yeah, Nick is like he's there. He's just a number. So yeah, Julia, I like the pick, and we'll see what happens. Let's go ahead and now do our usual predictions, which is the who wins the tribal. Now we do know this. It's going to be a merge next week. It will be.
Yes, they showed that review.
Our favorite. Well, it's my favorite episode every single season.
It's a good episode.
It's always a good episode.
It's always fun because it's kind of like this is where the rest of the game changes.
Right, and it's like you have anything that you if you feel so certain about something, it's gonna be completely twisted during the merge. Everything goes to the fan. So I'm very much looking forward to it. Most of the time, the first immunity challenge tends to be something physically, very, very physically, like, or endurance, I would say. Yeah. It's an endurance challenge where they have to do something for a long time. So that's what I'm expecting in terms of the immunity challenge. Gocubs, who do you think is going to be the winner of the first solo immunity challenge?
I kind of guessed on this one, but I also think it's possible to happen. I'm going to go with Sydney.
Yeah,
I think she's a pretty good competitor at challenges, and I think that she will surprise a lot of people.
She is a physical threat, absolutely. Yep. Those muscles scare me. I
those muscles scare me, Chris. 2016. I said your last name.
She is. I think that she. Definitely, if she could be one of those people that has like a good run with immunity challenges that we've seen in the past like few seasons where people have constantly won the immunity challenge, she could be one of those people. Another one that I would consider too, and that's gonna be my pick, is the elusive Shadow the Hedgehog Nick. Okay. And he is.
I gave it that name.
I don't like Nick at all, but I just think he seems like he could be a physical threat, and some say in some way, shape, or form, and I think that he's almost like an upset type thing where he kind of takes the immunity challenge, and I picture people wanting to go after him, wanting to like get him out, and then him winning the immunity challenge, and everyone's just like, oh god dang it. And that leads us into our predictions for the elimination. Gocubs, who do you think is going to be eliminated?
I think that some of the cockiness slash just how alliances form is gonna cause people to have a dislike for this specific person, and I think Aubrey's gonna get eliminated.
Aubrey, and I've been pushing it for quite a few weeks. I know you picked her once, and I've picked her, I believe, once or twice now.
I've picked her twice, and you have picked her twice.
Oh, so we both picked her twice.
But this is the second week in a row that you've picked her.
So for the third time this season, the fourth?
Second for you.
This is the second for me. Okay.
Yeah. I've had two, and you've had two.
Okay, I thought you said two for me, so I said the third time for me.
Oh no, this is your second.
Okay. Anyways, yes, for the fourth time this season, Debbie is on the chopping block for us, and I think that sooner or later, people will be like, she's absolutely nuts. We need to get her out of here, and she'll be eliminated maybe by this first tribal council. So we'll see what happens. So
high hopes.
Debbie goes, or Aubrey goes, or someone else goes, because sometimes we're not good at predictions. So guys, sometimes. Hashtag sometimes. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this episode.
Wait, I gotta do my recommendation.
That's right. It's our new segment.
Yep. Okay, so I know I did this a couple times ago, but I've actually seen the movie between now and the last podcast, and it's great. Go see Zootopia. It's like it's so good. It's one of Disney's best movies. I geek out over it all the damn time, but it's good. Go see it.
All right, there you go. That is Gocubs' recommendation to go see Zootopia.
That's it. That's all I have to say about it.
Yeah, and I have no idea what it's like, but I heard it's 99% on Rotten Tomatoes, so I mean, you gotta give it some respect there. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. The
subject matters. It's like perfect. What's going on?
Yeah, right? Yeah, it's definitely they chose a good time to release the movie
and the podcast.
All right, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.